Hello everyone, it's Snoo here. We got month 1 completed, gone out of the way. In fact, this is something like 5 weeks into the season. I'm a little late on coming out with the 1 month review video, but there's good reason for that, and that is because I have made the grand shift in my character, something that some of you are aware of, switching over from Deadeye Ascendancy over to Raider and switching over from the sort of Soulthirst, more League start build that I have been progressing and going into essentially the build that I ended last season with, which I absolutely loved. It is a magic find hybrid tornado shot Raider, extremely strong, mirrored bow, headhunter, a mapping god basically. Honestly doesn't actually appear at a glance all that much more powerful than the Soulthirst Deadeye variant, but being able to include 50% increased quantity on your gear is kind of a big deal, and yeah, everything comes with it, pretty awesome. Here it is, the creme de creme. This bow is a work of art. Path of Math really outdid himself this time. Actually, it's not his bow, but he has claimed ownership of this bow. 1 point off of perfect roll, 995 DPS physical bow. This is the best bow I think that's ever existed anywhere. Mainly because it actually has a tier 1 attack speed roll, which you don't normally see. Instead, you normally see a veiled roll covering that in, and the attack speed is crafted onto it, but it's just an absolute monstrosity. It could have better implicits, I guess. Could have, but no one's complaining here. We'll see if next league we get a bow even better than this, but yeah, I'm definitely feeling the power of this bow. Is super awesome. I am still using this quiver over here. I had this quiver on like the 3rd day of the league for 2x, and I'm just gonna carry this thing all the way to mirror land on the quiver side. That's kind of what I'm working on right now. So moving into the next month, I'm gonna farm a second mirror. It won't take me anywhere near a month, probably get it done in a week flat, honestly. So yeah, those are a couple of the major points with the character, kind of highlighting a TLDR there. I'm gonna make this video not particularly structured, you know, just hang out, take a listen to what I have to say. I guess I'm just reflecting on my month. It'll probably be about 30 minutes or whatever, kind of just talking off the cuff. I will try to structure it somewhat. Let's see, I'll talk about kind of gear progression, the character, making the switch over, what the build looks like, what the sort of farming strategies moving forward, my plans look like. Remember, I was going to do like 1,000 Crimson Temple runs, you know, what's going to happen with that. And then I'll just kind of give more generalized thoughts on my thoughts in the season, especially compared to how everyone else seems to be reporting things, because I have been keeping up to date with the forums anyway. I know they're kind of an echo chamber of negativity, but yeah. So here we go. I guess we started with the bow. I got my character has made the swap. Oh wait, what is this? What is this thing? I've never talked about this before. Valor Mage, I guess you say his name. Popular content creator popularized this robe as an amazing item for automatically finding premium sentinels to be recombinated, as well as many regular items to be recombinated, up to and including things like +1 all skill amulets that are worth like a 1x if you find it randomly off the ground, and all kinds of other things. Many of the weapons that I was recombinating with to get physical DPS spine bows. A lot of things. I bought a lot of weapons with just one particular prefix roll for half an exalt all the way up to a full exalt. So, you know, there's tons of potential there. We're kind of lucky that the loot filter actually does have some built-in function searching for there. I was afraid it was going to be horrendous. I was going to have to like learn how to code or something to develop the loot filter, although it does look like there's definitely some holes in the marketplace that the default search functionality doesn't cover. Things like very specific bases for specific mods, like I don't know, I can't really think of a great example, but you guys know there are certain bases with certain 1 mods on an item that if it drops is worth like a full exalt, and yeah, and I definitely don't know what most of those are, so I don't even know how to select a specific base on there on the loot filter. I mean, I could figure that out, but it sounds like a lot of work, and I'm not sure if I'm going to put that level of work into it, but I have been playing with this robe, and I will showcase one run, of course, towards the end of this video. Running this robe, it's obviously way the hell squishier, and it kind of ruins the dynamic that I had with endurance charges, but I do have a trick up my sleeve to cover that when we look into some of the other parts of my build. Still using the helmet that's never going to get replaced. The quiver I already talked about. Omniscience, man, I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to double corrupting an Omniscience. Probably will, but man, that's a tall order. I mean, I honestly, I want 5% quantity of items found again, but I don't expect to get that. We have now switched over to Magic Fineland, woo, Goldworm, and double Pariahs. Yeah, I should honestly probably roll a Ventor's Gamble, though, because I have to have, like, lightning res on my quiver instead of attack speed. The same thing I dealt with last season. I remember I actually mirrored a quiver that had a lightning reds on it, and I honestly think I'm about to do it again. But I really like the Pariahs. Actually, I can make good use of this this socketed gem. I can put ores like Precision or Defiance Banner into. I really like being able to put Defiance Banner in there for sure. And I'm thinking about maybe getting a setup where I can fit in Sentinel Purity. I could put Sentinel Purity in there and then pull this out into this slot here and replace an Awakened Enhanced Support. But yeah, I don't know. Don't know quite sure. Oh yeah, we got the Headhunter here. It's finished. It's got the enchant, got the perfect roll. I'm not happy about that life roll, but we'll deal with it for now. I'm not worried about it too much right this second. Flasks are different, you know. So all this happened yesterday, right? I made this switch. It was actually kind of cool. It was about a 6-hour process. I had gotten some other things out of the way. Oh wow, I actually forgot to re-roll the suffix on this flask. I didn't realize I forgot to re-roll the suffix on their flask. Well, I need to get to that. Not finished yet. Still got to get that 65% reduced. Effective curses on you during flask effect. Kind of a big deal. Yeah, so Granite Flask. It's either that or Jade Flask. It's kind of hard to say. Actually, without putting this chest in, I should probably do Jade Flask. Well, anyway, Granite Flask for me. One major change is from last league. Last character is this suffix used to be 14% increased movement speed, and I switched it out to mana cost reduction flask effect because I have dropped the Replica Conqueror's efficiency. So my Tornado Shot costs way too much for how fast I attack and how much mana I have. And if I use this flask, it goes all the way down to 10, or 9 rather, 9, which is, I think it was 8 mana last league if I remember correctly, but I had even less reserved, or more reserved. So that works out really nicely. These flasks are basically perfect, just needs a reroll. Got them all hillocked up, got them all like top tier 1s. The Dying Sun is almost perfectly rolled. It actually is perfectly rolled because that charge roll doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that is all for the gear. Still running the optimal gem setup, and yes, I have seen a couple of you ask me, how in the world do you get this bow?
My mana is gone.
Well, I got a treat for you. I'm setting myself up for the video that'll be coming out pretty soon. I want to accumulate, I don't know, like a dozen bows to recombinate in a quick tips video real quick, and so you guys can see it in action, me basically recreating this bow. Should hopefully be successful. Probably a dozen bows will do it. Hopefully. Yeah. Still running cemetery maps a little bit. As you can see, I lost all the progress that I made in the last video. Still at 99. Yeah, this chest makes you hella squishy. So it's kind of a problem. But I don't know what I'm going to do. I may have to put my old chest back in and do kind of some safe farm and get up to 100 because it's not happening at with what I'm currently doing. I'm just doing content that's just a little bit too dangerous, too risque, and I really don't want to have to pay for 5 ways. I really want to be able to say, you know, I solo leveled up to 100, and I fully intend to do that. I don't like sitting here at 99 for so long. I haven't worried too much about it, but it is starting to irk me enough. Moving forward into the next month, you're absolutely going to see me solo level up to 100. Still got a lot of things to sell over here. Oh yeah, you see a lot of chests here. Animate Guardian is in the works. That is another major change. That's basically the very last sort of major shift to my gear. I'm going to be transitioning out of the Ballista Totem
I'm not up to that
setup. which is here. And going to be moving into Animate Guardian territory. Should be well enough geared to probably handle that. I don't know. Although I'm not sure Animate Guardian is going to survive worth a damn in Sentinel environment. We'll see. May or may not work, but I didn't really want to do Animate Guardian until I'm floating a bunch of currency. And I'm not exactly floating a bunch of currency yet. Yeah, this is enough currency for a few Animate Guardian setups, but anyway, yeah, let's get into the passives here, because there's something really interesting to point out here. Obviously, switching out of Soulthirst, I had to change my clusters, not the large clusters, but the medium clusters. So these clusters are actually a bit cheaper than the other ones I had. I have not sold them yet, but they were like extraordinarily good, well-rolled clusters for Soulthirst. The hardest thing to roll on these clusters was actually the implicit. Yeah, I'd say I blew about 10 exalts or so on TFT trying to reroll cluster implicits. At one point I was paying like 40 chaos a piece for them, and it was just throwing 40 chaos out the window basically over and over and over and over, because with this setup, as you can see with the Raider, I have Avatar of the Veil, 50% chance to avoid elements while phasing, which is always up, and then an extra 20% right here. So I am missing 30%. Well, that's convenient, isn't it? Because that's just 2 implicits for each individual element. Ignite, I don't really care about. It's not that dangerous. Chilled is actually not that big of a deal, especially since when I run this flask, I got it covered. Frozen is also covered by this flask too, which is really cool, but it's not good enough, because you really want 100% immunity to frozen no matter what the situation is. So I do go ahead and make sure I get frozen immunity. I got 1 right here, and 1 right here. Then I need shock. You know, I definitely need shock immunity, and that one is on my Watcher's Eye, which actually does need to get replaced for a 3 modded Watcher's Eye at some point. And the other one is... I forgot. Somewhere. Better be somewhere. Oh, there it is. I thought it was kind of crazy for a second. Yeah, alright, the large cluster there. Arcing Shot is a notable I did not run last time, but if you look it up, it looks like it should be pretty good. I don't actually need the life leech for one reason, because I usually took these 3 points, but I don't have to take these 3 points this time because very cool, interesting gearing decision I made here. I decided I decided this actually before the league started, that my ultimate endgame gearing, I did want a Megalomaniac in here, because I knew there'd certainly be a way I could get rid of that Replica Conqueror's Efficiency Jewel. It's really not that much value for a jewel slot. You're essentially only getting -9 mana cost from skills. If there's any way to get rid of that, you should, and I did that by losing movement speed on the suffix of the flask. Check this out. I guess I have to pull it out, don't I, to see it. Okay, so we have Calamitous, sort of the extra roll. It's kind of it's a 3rd notable on here. I mandated two notables on here. I mandated Feast of Flesh and Enduring Composure. I did Enduring Composure because I knew at some point I'd be running this chest. So Enduring Composure is how I get around the issue with endurance charges, not being able to get endurance charges. Now, if you were to try and replicate what I'm doing, you could obviously run your own Megalomaniac, try to find Enduring Composure Megalomaniac, especially if you can get one with Feast of Flesh. That's super good, because Feast of Flesh saves me 3 passive points and gives me an extra 8% maximum life that I don't normally have. I do lose a little bit of life leech, I think, or something like that. Yeah, so, I mean, these points, yeah, it's 0.3 plus 5. Yeah, so, okay, I go from 0.8 and 15 life on hit to 0.4 and 10 life on hit. That's totally adequate. It's totally adequate. You just need a little bit more than a tiny amount, but 10 life on hit is plenty for the gearing on this character. It's no problem at all. Yeah, and I absolutely love Feast of Flesh. I couldn't believe it when I read that notable. I was looking at Megalomaniacs. I was like, oh my god, that is the notable I want. save me the points, and it's better than those 3 points, and then kind of work around that. Another option I have, another potential option, if I do keep wearing Duracell's Defiance for whatever reason, I'm going to try to see if there's a way I can fit in Sentinel Purity. So I'm going to run something like this, which is for the Hatred mana reservation, a 50% mana reservation. If I put a level 5 Awakened Enlighten in, maybe I can fit it, especially if I can lower the level on precision a little bit somehow. And then Towering Threat is just kind of the third off the wall one. So with Duracell's Defiance, could potentially fit Sentinel Purity, and that's like 20% more physical damage, by the way, is what that is. And then, but it's a 35% reservation, so that's gonna be hard to manage. And then, I could also re-anoint this over to Sovereignty as well to help with that. So I think if I re-anoint to Sovereignty, get a level 5 Awakened Enlighten, and put this Megalomaniac in, I probably do get the reservation space for Sentinel Purity added in there. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying that, especially if Tawm's Cloak is not all that it's cooked up to be. But for now I'm checking out Tawm's Cloak, and I'm just going to keep that in there. That in there, nice. Yeah, I paid like 5 to 10x for each of these clusters. These are exactly the same clusters I ran last time. I was happy with them. I could probably honestly use Chaos Res instead, but well, I gotta tell you about this cluster. So this is like the monster cluster for this build, and this thing is almost impossible to get at quadruple tier 1, but I did manage to buy this cluster without the Chaos Res roll and augment Chaos tier 1 into it, which is like a 20% chance to hit tier 1. If I hit tier 2, I would have probably been alright with that. But I did actually hit tier 1, which is just so clutch. That's 15 exalts just to augment Chaos. And the cluster without the Chaos Res roll was still like 20x, something like that. So we're looking at like a we're looking at like a 35x cluster without the Chaos roll, or just sort of random Chaos roll anyway. So pretty lucky how that turned out. And yeah, I mean, you just look at this. 10 points of this much kind of value is so huge. So that's super good. And that is actually the only source of Chaos Res I have. So kind of important that I got that tier 1 Chaos Res roll. I got that took me from negative 60 to 0, and then I get a few more points here. I'm not as worried about Chaos Res as I was last league, because there's actually some of these Arch Nemesis buffs that give you Chaos Res, which is kind of surprising. So that wasn't the case last league. But anyway, we'll see. I'll keep playing around with it. I also have Soul of Shakari, maybe, if I want to. But honestly, I think I'd rather be immune to Burning Ground, because I think still wrecks. And getting all those points back from the Inspired Learning, super nice to be able to get these clusters set up. I mean, it's such strong clusters. Jeez, good God, it's so strong. My sheet DPS in the POB, for some reason, went from like 3 million to 11 million DPS when I made the switch. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And apparently I had been configuring Trinity the entire time, by the way. So the sheet DPS in POB never accurately reflect. I mean, your DPS is like 200 million or something when you have 100 or more stacks of Soul Eater. Anyway, I do have, I should reduce that. I do have these points in here still. Now, I did not use these points last league, because we got so much movement speed all the way already from Headhunter. It wasn't that big of a deal. But this league, these are important. Holy crap, these are really important. Getting that extra 10% movement speed if you haven't taken damage, on top of 11% more movement speed. The evasion rating, cooldown reduction of movement skill. Meh, whatever. The last point I put in presumably will go into 50 max life right here. This mastery, maybe. I don't know. Could potentially go into 30% reduced extra damage from critical strikes. Actually, is probably smarter. Would probably be a bit smarter to do. Yeah, not terribly sure yet, but Oh, I will actually probably need this to... Actually, that just reminded me, yeah. Whoops, I forgot. I messed up something here. Yikes. Yikes. Whoop. I need to do this. Yeah, it's apparently going into... no, not there. Right here. 10%. Suppression. Oh! No! 97% spell suppression. Oh no! Well, that would be 100 if I hit this point. Last league, I had a triple modded Watcher's Eye that had these two mods and 15% spell suppression when affected by Grace, I think. So, I don't get that this time. Hopefully find that Watcher's Eye, but I doubt it. So I'll probably have to bite the bullet and just put, well, instead of taking that mastery, I would just take these 2 points, yeah. It's not so bad. I mean, you just have to take these 2 points right here. Yeah, entrenched and spell suppression, that's 14 points. That would give me a 101% spell suppression. Okay. So, my bad, I guess that's a plan. But man, I have to drop both life masteries to do that. It's a tight build. What can I say? I still had over 3k HP, so I don't feel terrible about it. As long as I'm at least 3k HP, I'm alright. Yeah. I love the projectile speed on this build. Oh my god. When you switch over to this and you put those clusters in, good god. Projectile speed modifier 229%. Look how fast these projectiles are, man. They are really flying off. Those things are gonna hit like four or five screens away. That tornado shot is gonna hit. Yeah, so if you have any questions about the build, you can of course ask in the comments below. That's basically where I'm at. Thanks to me for reminding me about the spell suppression. I've forgotten that dipped down below 100. I'm still at only 97%. I'll be okay, I guess. No wonder I was dying sometimes from... I just died from the Sentinel infused Hast, like last map. Probably because I had 87% spell suppression. Like only one of his frozen orbs or whatever just wrecked me. So yeah, I will hopefully put a stop to that. Or I could just put these boots back in. I mean, I probably should put these boots back in until I hit level 100. You know what? I think I'm going to put these boots back in until I hit level 100. This kind of solves all my problems. Gives me extra life. Gives me regen. Gives me a lot more... what the hell? I thought I was D&D. Okay, there we go. D&D for real now. Oh yeah, I guess I could show the Sentinel. Oh, it's the same. Same as it was in every other video. Let's see. Atlas passives. I guess this would be kind of the part 2 of the video. Big difference. Whoop! Valley of Darkness. I had to sacrifice 2 points. I had like an extra point over here before, and I had to get 2 points in here, so I had to take a bite out of my quantity wheel. Feels bad, man. Taking a bite out of the quantity wheel, losing that 1%. I don't want to lose that 1%. Can you guys see any other possibility of me dropping a point here? Because I just can't see it. I spent like 10 minutes looking like 100 different ways, and I just couldn't find a way to do it. Not if I want to block all this stuff. I think the most intelligent thing to do would be to take off straight and narrow the heist blocking. But honestly, I detest heist so much. I don't even want to see the blueprints drop. I don't even want to see them. Yeah, I don't want to see them drop. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it. Could remove like one of these points, I guess. I'd rather have 2% chance to reopen than 1% quantity, though. Well, just leave it as it is. Absolutely love this tree, though. I mean, other than the fact I wish I had one more point, but I definitely like this tree. I like the whole thing with Beyond still getting 3%. I still see a lot of Beyond monsters in my maps, even at just 3%. You know why? Because it's so much freaking pack size and a lot of monsters on each map. Dance of Destruction. I guess this isn't really necessary, but I like it. You know, soft core
My
way.
mana is gone.
It's a soft core way. Next strategy, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I think my strategy, my next mapping strategy, currency making strategy, is going to focus on leveling to 100. So whatever I come up with, that is the primary focus. Moving forward, the immediate future, my primary focus is to hit level 100, get that monkey off my back, and then I definitely plan to revisit the Legion on Legion strategy in Dunes. I plan to do that strategy also in Cemetery, combined with strongbox farming. I think it'll be interesting. At least one content viewer has mentioned trying that, and I think he liked it. And then, of course, we have 1,000 maps to do in Crimson Temple. As you've noticed, I've spent virtually no time in Crimson Temple this league, especially lately. There's a good reason for that. I want to do the opposite of burning out on Crimson Temple. I'd already kind of not really a fan of that layout, so I'm just staying away from it until the time comes. You know, I'll do like, I don't know, I'll do like maybe 100 map test on it just to make sure I got a good strat, and I'm not even 100% sure what my strat is going to be. It's definitely not going to be some insane, you know, Conquer influence, Eldritch influence map with, you know, triple beyond and 100% delirious. I'm not going to do that route. I'm definitely going to do more of the speed farming meta, which is a little bit against the grain for a layout like that, but I do want to, you know, keep to my roots and do that. I may honestly do the Strongbox Legion strategy on that map. I personally didn't mind Legion on that map too much. I didn't think it was that bad. It's still doable. I may do Wandering Path as the 1,000 map strategy, honestly. I might do it. So, yeah, those are the plans for moving forward, and in the immediate future, of course, I'll be coming out with the video on how to craft this beautiful bow. The side weapon, gem leveling weapon, 220% increased experience gained from gems. Pretty awesome. Well, let's run a map. Let's run a map right in the middle of this, and then I'll just do final thoughts kind of at the end. So I have been messing with the loot filter. I do apologize. Actually, it's embarrassing to say, I accidentally removed the loot filter that a lot of you guys subscribed to or copied or followed or whatever from the back end of my PoE account. I apologize for that. You're going to kind of have to go back and resubscribe to that if you want the updates. I am continually updating it on things relevant to Tawm's Cloak, but I'm not going super deep on it. I'm just kind of using the defaults, and I'm actually removing some of the things to search for. Like, I guess searching for like cold spell gems on wands or something. That stuff's only worth like 5-10 chaos piece. I don't want to mess with that, and it doesn't sell. I'm really only interested in things that are worth like at least, that are going to sell for at least 20k, like almost certainly going to sell for at least 20 chaos a piece. If it's not good enough for that, I don't really want it coming up on the loot filter. But the most important thing is, I think, is the identified Sentinel setup. So I actually had to manually add Legion as a modifier on there. And I also had to add quantity of all things. I can't believe it, but I had to add quantity on there. So like this Sentinel right here, this Sentinel would not have been seen. Well, it's actually rare anyway. But if this was a magic Sentinel with a suffix of prosperity, it wasn't being seen by the filter. I can't believe it. This is like one of the best mods for divination card farming. My preferred Sentinel is something like this. Basically, you know, a quantity, a decent tier quantity of items found, and then a decent tier, you know, A tier, B tier, like reward, like Harbinger reward or currency or divination or maybe expedition or scarabs or legion or something like that, or fossils even, metamorph even. Over half of the different rewards suffice, you know, are really good. And I definitely like this combination in the cemetery when you're combining it with divination card farming, and it's honestly even good for Legion on Legion. So I've been holding back. I got, good God, I got a ton of like quantity Legion sections. I have a lot more in the Sentinel locker actually. I've been saving up for ones like this that have a quantity and Legion roll for the Legion on Legion. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, tons of them in here. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. How many splinters and emblems I find on that shit? Woo! That's so many emblems. I'm gonna like try to break records with how many emblems I find per hour. It's kind of fun. All right. Yeah, I was talking. I just came out with a video, the shadowing series about the cemetery farm. It is fun, but honestly, the dunes on dunes is the most interesting strategy I think I've played recently. It's super meta and it's a very cool interaction. It just got a whole lot harder, unfortunately. Here we go. One map for the money. Oh, yay! Delirium spawn. That means I kind of actually need to do the mechanics in the front end of the map and not just barrel towards all the shrines immediately. The first time I ran into a map with this cloak on, I just got absolutely destroyed. Kind of have to make sure I kill stuff and get headhunter buffs immediately before I allow stuff to even get near me. I can't just run into the map and start flailing my arms. I think I'm gonna kill stuff. Almost forgot about that breach. In the nick of time. Oh my god. So powerful. I got all the best shrines. I'm getting pretty good at the Sentinel stuff. I mean, you saw that. I mean, that can't get any juicier than that. I absolutely maxed out that Pandemonium Sentinel hit there. Yeah. It's totally doable, man. If you have a build that can, where you can stop your DPS at a given moment, you can still do the Sentinel Legion strategy. I'm getting a lot better at it recently. Obviously, I still mess it up sometimes. I messed it up a little bit. Well, here, how about that? Sentinel, eat that. Woo. I'm going to be having to give myself cryptic Pandemonium Sentinels of 200 monsters or more at once to really feel the full power. If I hit them like that more often. Usually I have 7 rewards in a full map. I don't know why I don't have 7 rewards here. Something's wrong with this map. Not enough monsters on it, I guess. More monsters. Can't get 7 rewards, really? Am I missing a breach? I feel like I'm missing a breach. No? No? Alright. Well, we're a little short for 7 rewards. That's okay. So here we go. We're seeing a lot more rewards here. We got stuff like this. Okay, so this is Dictator's on a Maul is not exactly what I want, but the Dictator's roll is very rare. Physical roll, we'll see in a second if that's actually worth anything. Definitely a work in progress with the loot filter. For sure. Like I may remove Mauls entirely off the list. I probably will. Although I think a merciless Maul is still worth something like 30 chaos or so.
I'm not up to
Who uses Mauls? Are there actual melee players in this game? I didn't think there were. I don't like how long it takes to loot. I feel like the one thing I don't like about this cloak is it suddenly increases my loot time, and I always max out my... I'm finally getting my loot filter strict enough to no longer max out like my inventory space. I hate having to like... Because if I'm trying to do a fast mapping strategy, I do not want to be porting back into town and then back into the map to mess with that. This is tier 1 suffix damage over time on a wand. I think that actually is worth something. Maybe like at least 20 chaos. The base of the item does matter a little bit too. Yeah, I actually removed boots from the list on this unless it rolls double tier 1 like that. So it rolled double tier 1, tier 1 life and tier 1 strength clean like that is a premium recombinator base for sure. So here you go. Like I couldn't. Almost, almost made it through the whole map without that. Of course, I'm still collecting flasks, so that's kind of part of the reason why. All right, let's see if I can finish that here. I still haven't found an unnatural instinct this season. What the hell? This is like a really long time to go. Well, I guess I just now finally got some rarity on my gear with the rarity, double rarity gold flask. Alright, I'm just gonna search these manually because this is super annoying to check too, because especially Dictator role, you can't check it easily. So you have to actually go online and you check here, and I'm literally gonna type Dictator's Karui Mall. Sadly, that's what I gotta do to see. That's like the fastest way to see if it's any good. I don't think there are that many people using this chest, but there's enough that just the general like default roles. Oh wow, there's nothing. Well, that's awkward. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with that right now. I have to check that the hard way. And Dictator's prefix is the most annoying one to check of all, because you have to go in and set like all different parameters to make sure it only search for that modifier on any type of mall base. Super annoying. This one will be a lot easier to check though. Spiral Wand of Dissolution. Spiraled Wand of Dissolution. I don't want to make a habit of searching things like this all the time, but this doesn't look like it. Maybe 20 something chaos. Not that good. But there certainly are some jackpot hits, like again, +1 all skill gems from the amulet, +1 all spell skill gems from the weapons like wands and daggers. You got +2 arrows from bows. That's a huge one. The merciless damage rolls on most different items is actually pretty good. You got +1 arrows on quivers even is actually worth a little bit. So yeah, these boots are gonna be kind of annoying to check too. I can go in here. So like here, I will check on trade, and I'm gonna search max life 80, strength 51, magic boots, and one result, and it's 65 chaos. Yeah, these boots probably really are worth at least like 40 or 50 chaos as a recombinant. That double tier 1, 2 very, very strong. I mean, that's everybody's going to want the tier 1 max life roll, and everybody's going to want the tier 1 stat roll if they're running omniscience. And yeah, they probably don't want it on Goliath Greaves, but they can pull it over to the other base potentially. Yep, good stuff there. It's gonna be so hard. Like, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna quantify items found. I may just have to forget it. I'm not really sure.
My mana is gone.
Are we even done looting? Yeah, I'm done looting. 6 stack decks. Well, I actually got something. Ooh, item. Okay. Well, there you go. That's the map. And I survived. I didn't die. That's good, right? Getting Dying Sun back in is nice. Let's see, with Dying Sun and this bow, I have, what, 7? Yeah, 7 projectiles, and I'll have 8 once I get the mirrored quiver. Forgot to check these jewels. So we are using Gathering Winds now, which is actually a lot cheaper than it was last season. Maybe because it's still early in the season for these. I'm not sure. So using this Mantra of Flames. A Mantra of Flames with Corrupted Blood immunity is definitely the optimal setup here, because it's actually not that expensive. Not terribly expensive. I think I stole it for like 2x a long time ago. Well, that's basically the end of the story on the build progression, the sort of strategies moving forward. The only thing left to talk about really is Actually, let me see how long I've been talking here. Yeah, give it about maybe another 5 minutes. Okay, so just kind of overall, this league, absolutely loving it. Sentinel, very good mechanic. Hope it goes core. I do hope recombinators go for core, not because I'm super stoked about crafting, but I think they do wonders for the marketplace, for the economy of the game. Hats off to the genius who came up with the idea of recombinators. And again, Sentinel is a pretty damn good mechanic as well in its own right. So I mean, this league essentially has two separate league mechanics. You have recombinators, and you also have Sentinels and how they work in the game, in the maps. I'm never going to complain when there is a mechanic that juices up a map further that does not disrupt the flow of progressing through the map. I mean, you got me right there. I mean, I don't care what the mechanic is. It could be the goofiest thing in the world. If that it could be a little robot running around, pew pew pew. You know, little monsters. That's pretty goofy. If you ask me, for an archetype game like this, definitely didn't imagine laser shooting robots in Diablo when I played Diablo. For sure, but I'm for it. It's fine. A lot of people still not too happy, but I have noticed that the level of vitriol and dissent from the community overall has tampered down, and it seems like I'm no longer seeing all these forum posts on there like GGG ruined this game, you know, let's go back to 3.13, you know, all this stuff. I'm not seeing those posts too much anymore. The forum's gotten quieter. The people stopped screaming. A lot of people finally stopped playing too. The people who didn't enjoy this league have truly stopped playing now by week 5, I'd say. And the only people who are left, people like you, who's watching this video, probably people who really, really like this game. So, most people don't play this long into a league. Most people aren't still playing at week 5. And I'm someone who plays all the way into like week 11. I basically just don't play the very last week of the league. I don't know if that's you. Shout out to you if that's you too. I'll be right there with you, probably. Although I do foresee long term, I'm probably only going to be playing like 2/3 of a league, 3/4 of a league, not like literally all of a league. I think taking that time off will be wise. So yeah, I feel like I should have something else to say, but that's really it, man. I'm down with this league. I like it. Not happy about the timing of the change with the Legion. I've already talked about that in the last video. The timing of that change where they made it so the Sentinel, Pandemonium Sentinel no longer works on stasis monsters. I mean, I think that's fine mechanics-wise. Just the timing of that change is so horrible. Like, why would they do that 5 weeks into the league? So stupid. But it is what it is. There is one more thing to say. So, having tested out Headhunter, I was actually expecting it to be better. Yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed, actually, based on what people were saying. Yeah, it makes you tanky, really tanky. And I knew it wouldn't give me much speed. Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. It's such a lazy fix, man. Just adding, going from 20 seconds to 60 seconds. What a lazy fix. It makes Headhunter way less exciting. Way less. It was already brain dead enough. Like, they just made it even more brain dead by like you can literally just like AFK and come back 30 seconds later and still have all your buffs. What is that? Like, at least before, in its previous brain dead form, Headhunter was the kind of item that forced you to play in a way that was highly interactive, high momentum, keeping the momentum flowing, you know, going like you have to with inspired learning, even now. But now it's like you don't have to feel bad about like going through into dead ends and like, oh no, you know, I'm gonna lose a lot of Headhunter buffs, gonna walk the wrong way, or you know, maybe I should end this mechanic and this one I would have more Headhunter buffs right now. Like, you don't even have to care about that. It just became like super brain dead. I don't like Headhunter anymore, really. I mean, I'm using it because it's the best item, but I already kind of had issues with it before. I thought it was just straight up too powerful before. I might, from a selfish point of view, I would probably rather live in an alternative universe where they never rebuffed Headhunter. It would really justify me to keep using Soulthirst, and it would have honestly, like, it would have been a big deal for me. Like, if I would have been like, man, you know, Soulthirst is making this game great. You know, it's so, keeps you on your toes, way more skill based, but also has a perhaps an even higher ceiling than Headhunter. Absolutely love the way Soulthirst plays. I just wish it was, certainly deserves to be a more powerful belt, or perhaps Headhunter deserves to be less powerful even still. Yeah, so Headhunter is essentially no less powerful than it used to be. All it did was it became a little slower and even more brain dead, which is doubly more boring as far as I'm concerned. It just became even more boring. But I am planning to use it for the rest of the league. It is still, I think, the best option belt, and you know, I suppose that on the bright side, it will make farming more easygoing for me, I guess. Yeah, I do hope they change it still in some way. They're probably not going to, but oh well, we'll see. That's it for this video. I've talked enough on this, I think. Yeah. The last video I have is shooting to the moon. Tons of views, tons of praise, lots of comments on there. Appreciate you guys taking the time to look at it. I know this video won't be quite nearly as successful because it's not, you know, highlighting any one specific thing, but for those of you who wanted to know my take on the game, how it's been going for this past month, kind of moving forward, looking back, reflecting, all that jazz. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I guess the only really bad thing I had to say was about Headhunter, really, in the end. Yeah. One last thing I'll say. I have all but decided. I'm like 90% sure I am going to develop a full-fledged build guide on Soulthirst Deadeye leveling. Tornado Shot, Deadeye leveling, and into Soulthirst. I already have the build showcases. They went over pretty well. I think it certainly passes the test, so long as GGG doesn't do any kind of crazy nerfs to Tornado Shot, which they might. Who knows? But yeah, look forward to that. That'll be my first go at a real build guide. We'll come out with a video and the POB and like the various layers of the POB, and probably even make a full-blown forum post on that at some point. That will be a huge project to do. It is something that I definitely do not want to half-ass. I do want to take it seriously because I know how important build guides are, that they're done well. Yeah, so look forward to that. In the meantime, I will see you in game, grinding my ass off. The end. Bye for now.